Well, guys, I thought tonight I would have off. Nope. We have more breaking news in the Apalachee High School shooting. The father has been arrested. So we're going to be sharing and talking about that tonight. And I left the paper in the car. Oh, sorry. I just bolted from out of town, literally bolted from out of town. So we're going to be watching some of the news that came out today. For those of you who haven't seen it, and we're going to learn together what's going on. I figured this may be happening. I figured that this may hop in. Hi, Trial TV Live. Hi, Jedi Jess. Jedi Jess, do we have anything? 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 Okay, so, and we're back. Right, Karate Mom. Okay, so let's all watch together and find out what the Sam heck is going on. Okay, here we
As we know, for students and parents, and so many I know of students and parents here in this county and around this state are afraid. You all have likely seen reports of incidents of other students making threats today at various schools around our state. In each of these incidents, police, law enforcement took charges, they made arrests, acted very swiftly, as we take incidents like this very seriously across this state. This is a time for all of us as a community and a state to come together and remain vigilant. Students must be supported and encouraged here in this community and across this state to contact a member of their school faculty with any and all concerns of suspicious activity that they may see. Local, state, and federal law enforcement will continue to work together around the clock in relation to this incident here and any other incidents that come up around this state that raise concern to the safety of our students, faculty, and citizens here in the state of Georgia. Additionally, Colt Gray, that was arrested yesterday for this incident, has now been charged with 4 counts of felony murder. And again, we will continue to work tirelessly to complete this investigation as we move forward. I will go ahead and mention to you, and as I say sometimes, I'm going to go ahead and apologize to you. As y'all all know, that this is a murder investigation. It is a very serious investigation, one that we take serious, one that we will continue to diligently work on and be very thorough with it, with the GBI and our local partners here. So you'll have to forgive us if we don't answer a lot of the questions that you ask. I know you have many, and we wish we could answer many of them for you, but we still obviously want to maintain the integrity of this investigation because it has a long way to go for it to be finished. Again, I also want to remind everyone that we need to continue to pray and support the victims that were involved here, the school teachers, the faculty, the students, obviously those that lost their lives, their families, and those that were injured. So I'd like to call on the sheriff to come and give you a brief update on the status of those that were injured from yesterday's event. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Hosey. As Director Hosey said, I'd like to say that obviously we're lifting up those families. Our hearts are hurting for them, our kids, our students, our teachers. But the 9 injured, I am very happy to say will make a full recovery. And that's a testament to the response that we had, in my opinion, the response that medical staff responded with, in my opinion. And we're very happy to say that they will make a full recovery after that response. Again, please lift up our community. Please keep these children, these teachers. We call them teachers, but I call them heroes. We met with them today. Emotions are very high, obviously, but we told them that we love them. We love our teachers and what they do. And we're very happy at the fact that they stood in the gap between evil to protect their children, and we want to include them in the lives that were saved as well yesterday. But I wanted to report to you that all 9 people that are injured will expect to make a full recovery. Thank you.
Are they still in the hospital?
Several of them are still in the hospital. Some have been released.
And Director, can you please explain, did the father actually give the gun to the suspect?
Well, I'm gonna leave it as how I mentioned it in the release, that he knowingly allowed him to possess the weapon.
Director, can you tell us about how the arrest happened today? Did you turn himself in? Did you guys make contact with them? How did that go with investigators this afternoon with that arrest?
I'm honestly not familiar with the details.
Okay.
All I can tell you is that he is in custody at this time.
And is it likely anyone else will be arrested in this case, or is that still just being outlined?
It's difficult to say at this point in time. We're obviously still investigating this, following all leads, all evidence, and we'll set to see where it takes us as we progress forward.
Do you
when
believe
this
that
firearm
the arrest should have been made sooner?
The arrest was made when we had the probable cause to make the arrest.
Do we know when his first court appearance will be?
I'm not sure. No,
Did the dad bring him to school?
I'm not sure about that either. I'm sorry.
Are you able to explain the charges and how he has more charges than the suspected shooter?
Not in great detail. The biggest thing, as I mentioned earlier, is that he is in custody at this point in time. His charges are directly connected with the actions of his son and allowing him to possess a weapon.
Sheriff, will he be housed in your facility? Is that where he'll be held? How does that move forward?
He'll be held in the Barrow County Detention Center.
Will his mugshot be available tonight, or will it take some time until tomorrow to get it?
It depends on how long it takes us to book him, but if it's available, we can get that to y'all tonight.
Sheriff,
If not tomorrow.
you said some good news that some have been released. Do you know the numbers of patients that have been released, victims?
I don't want to speak to that because I don't know the exact number, but I know that I want to just report that all 9 would make a full recovery and be able to leave the hospital.
Sure, but just 9 people that were injured, do we know if they're a mix of students and teachers or staff, or are they just students?
I believe 2 were adult teachers, and the rest, which would be 7, would be students.
Director, can you explain whether there's precedent for charges like this?
I'm sorry.
Can you explain whether there's precedent in the state of Georgia as far as the GBI is concerned for the father or a parent to be charged for the crime?
I don't have any details on any history of it, but I would venture to say it's not something new.
Can you tell us about the evidence that led to these charges?
No, ma'am. That's part of the ongoing investigation. I apologize.
Sheriff, after all this time with him being able to talk with investigators, we were pretty strong yesterday. We were saying this was an evil act. It's very sad, obviously, but looking back at what the 14-year-old's been able to say to investigators over the last 24 hours, can you reflect on just what this community is facing after what he allegedly did at this school?
What we're facing, heartbreak. We're heartbroken. A young person brought a gun into a school, committed an evil act, and he took lives, and he injured many other people, not only physically but mentally. But I'm proud of Barrow County. I'm proud of our superintendent. I'm proud of these teachers. I'm proud of these schools. And I'm proud of where I live. And we'll get past this. If you see behind me, up here on the hill, we got a vigil going on at our flagpole. I welcome you to go see those kids and those young people that are hurting.
Director, can you please explain whether you're still expecting more charges?
I think I answered that earlier. Our investigation is still ongoing. So we'll see where things go with our investigation. And I'll leave it at that.
Thank you so much. That's all we have for tonight. Continue to follow GBI on X. Please monitor our website. We did not anticipate another update, but as you can see, it's fluid. Things are developing. Again, we appreciate your patience and your support and your continued prayers for the victims. Thank you.
You have been listening to officials in Georgia give an update on the deadly shooting at Apalachee High School in Winder, Georgia. You heard from Sheriff Judd Smith and Director of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation, Chris Hosey. They said that the father of the shooter, Colt Gray, has been brought in on 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, 8 counts of cruelty to children, and that Colt Gray, the shooter himself, has been charged on 4 counts of felony murder. The sheriff said of the community, "We're heartbroken." that is essentially the information that was contained. One other thing, actually, also the director of the Georgia Bureau of Investigation said that there have been a number of threats during the day, hoaxes, but that the Bureau has taken those threats seriously, followed up on them, and in some case made charges or filed charges against those who made those hoax threats. And that concludes our report, and we're now going to go to a break.
Well, okay then. On to break. Are some of our yes, toxic orchid? Hey, how are you? That were spot on, y'all. Spot on. I They did not say the list of charges, but I do want to get those. I have them written down in my car. I apologize so much, guys. I bolted in here and left them in the car. Um, Let me get some more details for y'all. I apologize. Well, here's the
process. 2 teachers and 2 students were killed when a gunman walked onto campus and opened fire. 9 others were injured in the shooting. Our live team coverage continues this afternoon. Fox 5 anchor Courtney Bryant joins us from Apalachee High School in Barrow County. And Courtney, it sounds like there's still so much activity there at the high school in light of this huge investigation.
That's right, Christine. A lot of activity, but obviously no class in session today, a day when students should be on their 4th or 5th week of classes resuming after the summer break. And it is actually surprisingly busy here. I mean, obviously there are members of the news media here reporting on the school shooting, but we have just seen person after person coming here onto the campus, either to leave flowers or just to kind of walk around and take in the general mood of things. People are just still letting it sink in what took place here yesterday that led to the deaths of 4 members of this Apalachee High School community. Now, we do want to show you another look at that mugshot we just got in. This is our first look of the suspected shooter, 14 years old, Colt Gray.
wow.
He has been
He
charged
looks
with
so
4
much
counts
different now.
of felony murder. He is currently in the Gainesville Regional Youth Detention Center, but keep in mind he will be tried as an adult. That's what we got from the GBI yesterday. His first court appearance will be tomorrow morning. We continue our live team coverage. Our Angelique Proctor spoke with neighbors of the victims, but we begin with Eric Perry. And Eric, just a few minutes ago, we heard from a student you spoke with who witnessed the shooting. It actually happened in his classroom. Let's walk through that.
Yeah, Courtney, I mean, it was really chilling to hear. I mean, this student saw the gunman burst through his door, pointed the gun at him, and he knows the 2 victims. He says both of them were in his algebra class. You mentioned earlier, I was out here 9 o'clock this morning, 9:30 this morning, and since then there has been a steady stream, a steady flow of people walking through here with flowers, balloons, as they come together as a community. We do want to set the table. We know it's difficult to hear, but this is what we
Okay, that was not the full press conference. Here is the full press conference. Woohoo! Finally. Yes, we got some exciting news happening with Discord. And with as the gavel drops, we got a new sponsor. Woohoo!
Good evening. We wanted to come back and update you on the progress of the case this evening. Appreciate you being here.
That's the loudest I can make it, guys.
The District Attorney Brad Smith, the GBI has arrested Colin Gray, age 54, in connection to the shooting here at Apalachee High School. Colin is Colt Gray's father that was arrested yesterday. He is charged with the following: 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. Mr. Gray, these charges stem from Mr. Gray knowingly allowing his son, Colt, to possess a weapon. This is a very difficult time, as we know, for students and parents, and so many I know of students and parents here in this county and around this state are afraid. You all have likely seen reports of incidents of other students making threats today at various schools around our state. In each of these incidents, police, law enforcement took charges, they made arrests, acted very swiftly as we take
We
issues like
love
this very
you.
seriously across this state. This is a time for all of us as a community and a state to come together and remain vigilant. Students must be supported and encouraged here in this community and across the state to contact a member of their school faculty with any and all concerns of suspicious activity that they may see. Local, state, and federal law enforcement will continue to work together around the clock in relation to this incident here and any other incidents that come up around this state that raise concern to the safety of our students, faculty, and citizens here in the state of Georgia. Additionally, Colt Gray, that was arrested yesterday for this incident, has now been charged with 4 counts of felony murder. And again, we will continue to work tirelessly to complete this investigation as we move forward. I will go ahead and mention to you, and as I say sometimes, I'm going to go ahead and apologize to you. As y'all all know, that this is a murder investigation. It is a very serious investigation, one that we take serious, one that we will continue to diligently work on and be very thorough with it, with the GBI and our local partners here. So you'll have to forgive us if we don't answer a lot of the questions that you ask. I know you have many, and we wish we could answer many of them for you, but we still obviously want to maintain the integrity of this investigation because it has a long way to go for it to be finished. Again, I also want to remind everyone that we need to continue to pray and support the victims that were involved here, the school teachers, the faculty, the students, obviously those that lost their lives, their families, and those that were injured. So I'd like to call on the sheriff to come and give you a brief update on the status of those that were injured from yesterday's event. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Hosey. As Director Hosey said, I'd like to say that obviously we're lifting up those families. Our hearts are hurting for them, our kids, our students, our teachers. But the 9 injured, I am very happy to say will make a full recovery. And that's a testament to the response that we had, in my opinion.
Okay, guys, we've already seen this part. Do you want me to continue and let it play again, or are we good? Because I wanted to talk about a few things. Okay. Sensei, I need you over here. Please. Come on. I need to be able to move my chair. I don't want to get your toes. There we go. I don't want to get her toes. Y'all, this happened so fast. I literally was at a town 45 minutes away. No, I didn't speed, but I did business on the way home, back. So, guys, we have a lot to talk about. I am not surprised that this happened. We talked earlier about the fact that if the father gave the son the weapon or he bought it for him or whatever, I felt that this was going to happen. Hi, Swamp Girl. Hi, Out and About with Diane. Hey, K1. Hey, Toxic. Haley, Denny Dawn, Christy, Ann, Eddie, Trial Live, Jedi, Karate Mom, ADHD. Hello to all of you who have commented and those who haven't. Hello, I'm AdaKay. I know we ran in here pretty quickly. I apologize. It's been a long day. Okay. I'm trying to settle down. Yes, definitely. Getting ready to talk about that. As the gavel drops is a new sponsor. Woohoo! So I'll have the commercial made in the next day or two. But please go to Discord. and search as the gavel drops. They are covering about 500 cases, and they have all kind of documents. So if you're looking for something to read, you're looking for specific information, please go show them some love, because a lot of our documents come from her, or that toxic orchid, and all of her fabulous researchers. So go love on them, y'all. We will have more information on that in a little bit. But here's my thing. I know I said the Crumbly case was going to open up some doors, and it did. The thing, yes, please like, share, and subscribe. The thing about this Crumbly case is that what's different is they knew he had mental illness. They bought him a gun anyway. They didn't store it properly. And I said earlier today, if that was the case with this young man, we're going to be seeing more charges. And we are. Apparently, the father bought the weapon for the child. Don't know if the mother was living there. If she was living there, she's next. We'll see. But I do have some documents to share. I know, but I hate to do this. I have to take puppers to the restroom. So I am going to put up another news, and then we will be back to go over the CNN obtains audio police questioning school shooting. Okay, here we go. Not what I want.
In which he killed 4 people.
I'll be right back.
Breaking news in the Georgia school shooting investigation. CNN is just obtaining the audio of the sheriff's questioning the alleged 14-year-old shooter last year before he allegedly carried out yesterday's mass shooting at his high school in Georgia, in which he killed 4 people and injured 9 more. Here's what he said when investigators asked him about tips at the time last year in school that he was allegedly threatening a school shooting.
Have you heard anybody on Discord when you were using it say something like that? Do you remember?
Like at that time?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
I mean, I'm not trying to get anybody hemmed up, but like this is some serious stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, he knows how serious it is. Trust me.
I'd hate to. My boss was even like, I don't know how old this information is, and if you want to wait till Monday to follow up, I was like, nah, I'd rather do it now because
so would we.
Because God forbid something happened and I didn't do my job, I'd feel pretty bad about that.
I mean, it's just words now. It's hard to hear. God forbid something can happen. And now something has. And it has come as CNN is learning that Gray's father told investigators that he purchased the gun that was used in the killings as a holiday present for his son. Isabel Rosales is out front.
I saw Colt in custody with handcuffs on. He is cooperating with us as far as I know.
Still talking?
He's still talking.
Barrow County Sheriff Judd Smith was one of the first responders on campus yesterday.
It was very nerve-wracking going there, not knowing what I was about to walk into or what I was about to see and what the situation was.
Both he and the entire school staff are crediting the fast response from law enforcement to a new security system that was implemented at the school just 1 week ago.
So I had 26 alerts during the incident when it started. Within 5 minutes of the first alert going off, we had the suspect in custody.
The system, called Centegix, works with ID badges that include a panic button that teachers and staff can press in an emergency situation.
It's an ID card, and the teachers can alert and lock the school down. And we got multiple alerts that told us where this was going on.
The 14-year-old suspect spent the night behind bars at a youth detention center. But on Friday, when he makes his first court appearance,
He will be charged with murder, and he will be tried as an adult and handled as an adult.
according to a source familiar with the investigation, new details have emerged from the search of the suspect's home. Documents found in his bedroom, believed to be written by him, reference past school shootings, including the 2018 massacre in Parkland, Florida. But this wasn't the first time the suspect had a run-in with law enforcement. A 2023 investigative report says that last year, the local sheriff's office received a tip from the FBI about a series of anonymous threats on the chat platform Discord to, quote, shoot up a middle school tomorrow. The tip included photo attachments with a profile name in Russian that translated to Adam Lanza, the Sandy Hook shooter. The suspect and his father were both interviewed, and while his father acknowledged hunting rifles existed in the home, he said his son did not have unsupervised access to them. The suspect denied making the threats to shoot up a school, stating that he would never say such a thing, even in a joking manner. The case was ultimately cleared because law enforcement couldn't substantiate the threats. Now, we've learned Gray's father told investigators he bought the AR-15 for his son after that investigation, and several months before he transferred into Apalachee High School. And authorities are trying to figure out how the suspect managed to get that rifle into the school, especially because he was so new.
He is enrolled in school 2 weeks ago, 2.5 weeks ago, and only been in school 2 days.
And Aaron, we have breaking news just dropping here in the last minute that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has arrested Colin Gray, age 54. That is Colt Gray's father, in connection to this deadly shooting at Apalachee High School. Again, that is Colt Gray's father. He's been charged with the following: 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of second-degree murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children. The GBI will be having a press conference here in the next half hour, so we expect to get more details and an understanding of what led them to these charges here very soon. And Aaron, I do want to leave you with this right here: a community united here as the sun is setting in grief. They're laying flowers, balloons, paying their respects to, again, the 4 dead, 2 teachers, 2 students at Apalachee High School.
And Isabel, just in this breaking news, I mean, we're now hearing the audio, which was just so chilling, of the FBI asking questions of the shooter at his prior school about these threats. That one line, God forbid something happened and I didn't do my job. When that investigator said, I brought him in to ask these questions now, I didn't wait over the weekend. And of course, here we are. Are you learning anything more about, Colin Gray? I mean, do we even know if he's in custody as you get all of these charges, which obviously are extremely
he's not going to be
significant, especially in the context of the fact that he gave his son
He's
this
in
gun,
juvie.
and he is the other voice we hear that there in that questioning. He was there with
His
his
father
son.
will be held without bond.
Right. And we have stunning reporting from my colleagues, Mark Morales and Ryan Young, that found that, again, investigators spoke with the father, with the son, back in May of last year. But then about 6 to 7 months later, as a holiday or a Christmas gift, he bought this same gun that was used to carry out this attack as a gift to his son. I spoke with the sheriff earlier, who told me that anything was on the table, including possible charges against Colin Gray, his father, Colt Gray's father, who had custody of his son. And here we are hours later, and he's been charged. The biggest question, again, is how Colt allegedly got access to this gun, right? How it wasn't unlocked, how he managed to get it inside of the school. That is what led to these charges, and we hope to find out more from the GBI here in the next half hour.
All right. Well, Isabel, as you get that, of course, we're going to come back to you as we get more information. Thank you very much. And I think also just important to emphasize, Isabel, Ryan, Mike's reporting, and as she's laying that out, that you hear that questioning, you hear the father brought in with his son for that questioning. And it was after that questioning, 6 months after, when he gave his child the gun that his child then used to murder people yesterday in Georgia. I want to go to Tim Clemente now, former FBI special agent and SWAT team member. Tim, I just, as we're hearing this audio, as I said, it is hard to listen to. You heard that agent and the sheriff say, look, I just, God forbid something happened, I do my job. I want to bring you in now. I want to do this questioning. Let me play a bit more of the audio that we've obtained.
Do you have weapons in the house?
I do.
Are they accessible to him?
They are. I mean, there's nothing loaded, but they are down.
Okay.
We do a lot of shooting. We do a lot of deer hunting. He shot his first deer this year.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so like I'm pretty much in shock, to be honest with you.
Well,
I'm a little pissed off, to be even really honest with you. If that is what was said.
That Tim that he's referring to are the threats about shooting a school that they brought in Cole Gray, the alleged shooter here, to ask him about. So 7 months after that conversation, when they're talking, that's the father talking about his son's access to guns. 7 months after that conversation, he gives him a gun. He gives him a gun for Christmas, and that is the gun that his son used to kill people yesterday. How do you even process this?
Aaron, it's almost impossible to process. Obviously, the father didn't take those threats seriously, didn't consider his son as the suspect that may have made those threats. The visit by the local sheriff's department investigators to talk to the son and the father as a 13-year-old kid that possibly made those threats, you would think that it might wake the father up, that maybe he didn't know everything he should know about his son. And it's disheartening that he would be so stupid as to, he says in the interview that my son does have access to weapons and, they're not loaded, but he has access to them. And then he just increases that access with an additional rifle that was tragically used yesterday.
I mean, it is really incredible. So you heard the investigator say, my supervisor said, are you going to do this today or do you want to wait through the weekend in terms of the questioning of this kid, the alleged shooter, Cole, who now is 14, at the time was 13, because God forbid something happened, I didn't do my job. I'd feel pretty bad about that. Now, you hear there in the follow-up, the 13-year-old saying, oh, I would never make such a threat. I would never do anything. I know this is serious. I know. So, and then that was it. It all went away. When you hear all of this, does it make sense to you that it kind of went away? I mean, this kid then transferred to a new school. I don't know what level of awareness they had about any of this history.
It would have been in his
Aaron,
documentation
that's the
and
biggest
his
question
records.
that I have is what awareness did the new school have? Did his teachers have that maybe this is a kid they should be looking at more closely? Now, obviously a threat is significant enough that it goes from the FBI to the local authorities to investigate further, but it's not enough to arrest the kid because they really can't tie his fingerprints to that threat, even though it may have come from his IP address, his email address, whatever the connections were. They may not have had enough to actually charge him with anything if they were able to prove that it was his threat. But it doesn't mean you don't look more closely at the kid. As a parent, as a teacher, as school administrators, everyone should have been looking more closely at this kid and his behavior. And obviously they weren't.
No, I mean, I was talking to the kid who sits next to him, who was sitting next to him in algebra when he got up to leave. And she said, well, I didn't think anything of it because he's always skipping class, right? Already this year, 1 month into school, the kid who sits next to him knew that this kid had issues and problems just because of that. No other interaction. But these are things that in the context of what they knew, obviously should have stood out.
Good evening. I'm Jennifer Bellamy. Right now, we are preparing to take you to the Georgia Bureau of Investigation as they get ready to speak after just announcing the arrest of 54-year-old Colin Gray. He is the father of
Okay, we've heard this. I was just going to see if they had
Cole Gray, the 14-year-old suspect in yesterday's mass shooting at Apalachee High School in Barrow County. We are going to listen in, but we will return you to your normal programming and time for tonight's football game. Let's go ahead and try to get a look at that scene right now as we wait for the Georgia Bureau of Investigation and other members of law enforcement to begin. The GBI announcing this evening charges against that father, again, 54-year-old.
Okay, we've already seen all that. Okay, guys. Here. Oh, let me get the comments. I'm sorry. Well, the past school would have it in the documentation that they transferred. Personal opinions are not going to be in those documents, but what will be in those documents are definitely the disciplinary, any concerns, the FBI investigation, all that will be there. Yeah, they may not have had his full transcript at that time. That's a good possibility. They do send over the transcript, behavioral records. They do hand over all of that. But did anybody have time to go through it? Ow, I just nearly broke my nail off. Ooh, that smarted. My mother was a vice principal secretary in the beginning of the school year. It's hell, living hell. And when it comes to that kind of stuff, so they probably did not have time to interview, nor did they probably have time yet to get that information. So before we go any further, I'd like to give you a word from our new sponsor. Y'all, please go to As the Gavel Drops for any and all documents that are related to today's most popular court cases. They right now are looking into over 500 cases. They have multiple streamers, so you can go and click on their lives and enjoy watching your favorite trial through As the Gavel Drops. They are brilliant at finding documents for court cases, even the hard to find ones, and you can go and dive in to all your heart's content. Again, if you're a court junkie like me and you love to read all the good documents, such as criminal warrants, divorce, anything to happen to do with the trial, all the motions, all of the documents, please go to As the Gavel Drops in Discord and join them. They're a fabulous group of people. Hey, and if you're a researcher and you like to dig up those records, become a mod. They could use your help too. Okay, guys. Did you see the Daryl Brooks stuff? Check them out. They have it. Yes, they have it all. Yes, they do. They're our new partners. So right now, we are going to dive into something, but I want to make sure I can get it on screen well. Do this. Let me embiggen. Give me a second, y'all. I did not have time to preset any of this. My apologies. And here we go. Here is the affidavit, criminal warrant, the state versus Colt Gray, address, date of birth is redacted, felony murder, prosecutor Jason Smith, defendant arrested on the 4th of September. Personally comes Jason Smith, who on oath says that to the best of his or her knowledge and behalf of Colton Gray did in the county as foresaid commit the offense of to wit felony murder 16-51 in said county between the hours of 10:20 and 10:30 and on the 4th day of September of 2024. The place of the current occurrence of said offense is their address against blank. Said offense being described as Colton Gray, while in the commission of a crime of aggravated assault, a felony, he caused the death of, we know them, other human being to wit Colt Gray while in the possession of a black semi-automatic AR-15 style rifle, fired the weapon in the direction of blanks persons, resulting in the projectile from said weapon to strike blank, causing death. Thus, despondent makes this affidavit and warrant may issue for his or her arrest. So then this did it again. So all of these are going to be the same, just for the 4 people that have passed away. So they're all the same. This is all we have, y'all. This is the first documents that are hitting the public record. So we thank you for everyone who participated in helping us get those records. You too can find this at the Gavel Drops in Discord. So y'all, this is a tragedy. And I have to say, this has been a very emotionally draining time for all of us, especially those who are reporting it. Let's see, let's call it the amount of BS that goes around what people have and haven't done or seen after any tragedy is ridiculous. Probably wasn't true, or they were thinking the wrong student. Okay, there has been some TikToks that have been hijacked by somebody who has a similar name, and they have imposed this kid's picture in it. There have been a lot of things happening under in Twitter, excuse me, in Twitter. Which one was X? Was that Twitter? TikTok. Okay, in Twitter, I will tell you, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk, but I am very, very appreciative he has blocked anything to do with this case. Even if your name is Colton Gray, anything in relation, even if you're not that person, your account has been blocked for the time being because he does not wish for there to be any glamorization or any thing to do with perpetuating and making this kid more famous than he already is. And I can respect that. Like again, I'm not a fan of Elon Musk for a lot of reasons, but this kudos to you, do you gained a little respect on from me, and I'm nothing. So there you go. Shoot. I shouldn't have closed down that stream. I shouldn't have closed it down, y'all. My bad. My brain is getting a little fried. I will be honest. Police arrest a father of Georgia. Oh, okay. We've already seen that. Emergency tech use. Oh, say, I don't see anything else that is streaming right now. Okay. We don't have any new news. That's it for tonight as far as that is concerned. Sorry, my son is screaming. Would you guys be opposed? I know the title is what it is. We did not finish watching the hearing with the judge jumper trial with Deobra Ridden, the guy who jumped over the judge's bench and attacked her. We were watching. Okay, I'm going back to Discord. What else is there, love? I don't see anything else. Did I missing something? Yeah, I know. Case one, a lot of people have. Veronica, what else have I missed? Tomorrow morning, we do have a motion hearing set. Okay, we do have that. Ronnie, the motion set, it doesn't have a name. Is this at 9 a.m.? This is for him. Am I correct? That's 8 a.m. my time. And this trial is at 8:30. 7:30 my time. Well, I'm getting ready to play it because we're behind. We're a day behind. So we will be here at 7:30 in the morning my time. I'll be here. Well, yeah, I'll be here at 7. And we'll get to work on this one. And we will put the 9 a.m. is Adonna Andelson. Okay. When I'm tired, forgive me, guys. In the last 2 days, I have streamed almost 20 hours, it feels like, and I can't keep it straight. So the jumper trial starts tomorrow morning again. Then we have the school shooting is tomorrow. And we have Donna Adelson at 9. When is when is Colton Gray's hearing? What time is? Please tell me that's afternoon. So we have 3 things tomorrow that we will be paying attention to. Okay. Oh. Al Auburn sentencing tomorrow too. Don't know if you've ever followed the trial. No, but I will if we're not in another case, or even if we are, I'll play it again later. We have a lot going on tomorrow, and I've got a final paper due tomorrow too, and a test. So yeah, we're having a whole lot of fun, but wouldn't have it any other way. I really, really wouldn't. Okay, so Colt is at 8:30. So we're going to do Colt first, Then we will do the Adelson hearing second. And then third, we will do the Judge Jumper trial. And whenever the Albuban, whatever comes up, we'll do that. Y'all. I understand. Not everybody is. It's okay. But I will provide it. I try to give as much as I can. So let's recap real quick for those who didn't catch it. Now got to go to bed. Yes, go to bed. We will see you tomorrow, hopefully. Good night, Lewis Cox. Okay. The father, Colton Gray, was arrested. 4 counts of involuntary manslaughter, 2 counts of murder, and 8 counts of cruelty to children because he knowingly purchased and gave his son a weapon after the FBI investigation. If it's not on tomorrow, well, so be it. But if it is, we'll work on it. I don't know. Thank you, honey, 2800 for that comment. I will double check it. I know, baby. Go lay down. My baby girl's like, Mama, it's 3 hours. We need to go home. And I'm like, no, we're good. My service dog. I'm deaf without my hearing aids. I have a hearing dog. And I know I'm slouching in my chair. I'm tired. So why don't we don't have but about 20 minutes to finish up with the jumper trial for today. I'd like to do that. We're going to play catch up real quick. Oh, you're good. Hello, Britt. Hi, Britt. Lots of craziness. I know. I was like, I thought this week was going to be a quiet week. Boy, was I wrong. That's what I get for thinking. Okay, guys, take a hug, call your loved one, check in on them, and make sure they're all okay and that they know that you love them. Miss Andrielle, if you don't wish to watch, that's okay. That's okay. You are right, Denny. So I'm going to share this screen. We are going to watch the rest of today's, or is this yesterday's? I think today's. I'm going to take a minute while we're watching this to get my brain to get back into gear. I'm not in working gear. Y'all, this is not easy. Crime never sleeps. The world is messed up and sad. You got that right. Okay.
With regards to Mr. Redden on January 3rd of 2024, were you aware of whether or not he'd ever been in your department prior to that date?
Yes,
Was he or was he not?
he was. Yeah.
And do you recall what he had been in your department for previously?
Exactly.
okay,
I'm
Andrea.
not sure. I believe, I don't want the record to be wrong here. I believe it was a domestic violent offense, if I remember correctly.
Do you know what kind of hearing it was? Sorry.
The kind of hearing that he was there originally for, or that
Previously.
day?
Previously.
It was a sentencing hearing. Or we would, I believe, given him probation.
Okay. And there was nothing particularly remarkable about that hearing, correct?
Nothing remarkable at all.
Were you aware on January 3rd of 2024 when his case was called? Were you paying attention?
Yes, I was absolutely paying attention. I remember him kind of getting walked through by our marshal. When there's an out of custody defendant, whether it's a sentencing or really any hearing whatsoever, we always have a marshal directly behind him. It's typically Shane, who's directly behind that particular defendant, whatever it is. And I remember him coming to the courtroom, and I remember him kind of talking for a long time. The judge has given him an opportunity to address the court. I remember at that point, there was really nothing unusual. He seemed really polite and courteous, and there was no kind of nothing unique about the situation. So I kind of had lost interest a little bit. I was, doing my emails. It wasn't really, like I said, anything unique about the situation. And I kind of, like I said, I kind of just started answering emails.
Prior to Mr. Redden addressing the court on his own behalf, do you recall whether or not anyone from the state made an argument on behalf of the state?
I think I can't
Were you paying attention at that point?
Yeah, I don't necessarily recall. I mean, I think the state may have, but I don't necessarily recall exactly what, kind of right before then. Like I said, I was kind of answering emails and stuff, and I didn't think anything of it.
Do you recall who the calendar deputy was that day?
The calendar deputy?
Who was handling the calendar on behalf of the state? On January 3rd.
State, it was, there was Jory, I know was there. I know Richard Scow was there. I think it was Scow at the time because Jory would kind of pop in from time to time. So I think it was Scow.
Okay. And with regards to a calendar deputy, is that the individual that would handle the bulk of the matters on the criminal calendar that day?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah.
And occasionally specialty team deputies might pop in and out to handle individual matters?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. So on that date, Richard Scow was the assigned calendar deputy.
Yes.
And Jory Scarborough was a specialty team deputy that appeared on January 3rd. At some point after Mr. Redden addressed the court, do you recall something unusual happening?
Oh, yeah. So, like I said, I was kind of lost. I didn't lose interest, but I was kind of listening, but I wasn't, paying too much attention. I was just kind of answering emails. And then I could hear, I remember the judge speaking. I remember the judge kind of going and kind of saying what she was going to say. And then I could remember hearing some handcuffs. And then what really caught my attention was I heard, excuse my language, but I heard, fuck that bitch. And when I heard that, I immediately looked up. And when then I'd seen Mr. Redden, and I'd seen him kind of hop over the defense desk that we were speaking about earlier. And he'd kind of put one hand down, and it just kind of pretty easily just hopped right over. And at that moment, I was obviously my full attention was looking at this particular individual. And at that moment in time, I actually thought he was going to go for the door because occasionally when we go to remand defendants into custody, they'll go and make a run for it. And there was that particular door that we were speaking about earlier. So I actually was under the impression he was going for the door. Never would I even imagine that he was going to go for the judge. But then I remember looking at him. I was actually saying like, whoa, whoa, whoa. Cause I was trying to process what was even happening. And it all happened so fast. I mean, like I was saying before, the defense desk is actually a lot further than these desks are here. And he was able to scale that distance in such a short amount of time. I mean, the video doesn't even do it justice as to just how fast that all took place. And then I remember him doing this just incredible leap over the judge's bench bar there. And at that moment in time, I kind of just reacted. There was I wasn't even thinking, to be honest. It was just all reaction and a reflex. I went right in to try my best to kind of to protect the judge. So, no hesitation. I tried my best to go in. And at that point, unfortunately, he was so fast and kind of just athletic. He was able to get to her. And I remember him kind of sprawling his arms out like this and just clamping those arms down. And one kind of right on her hair here. And then the other one kind of like right in between the neck and shoulder blade, kind of like right here. So kind of just clamping down. And then I remember him just smashing the back of her skull on that tile wall that we were discussing earlier, just smashing the back of it. And at that moment, I was actually thinking to myself, like, oh my God, like he's going to kill Judge Holthus. And, I remember after he'd smacked her skull, he had actually dragged her down. So he goes and does that. And then he actually drags her down, almost twists her a little bit, and was like face to face with the judge. And at this point, I am almost like on his back trying to get him up. And, he's like this. And Judge Holthus is actually, Judge Holthus was like frozen at the time. I mean, she was literally frozen solid, almost like a piece of petrified wood. She was just not even moving. I think she was in a state of shock at the time. And he was yelling things at her. He was saying things to her, and I couldn't make out anything that he was saying because I was actually in turn screaming at him and saying, "Get off the judge! Get off the judge! What are you doing?" I was like, "What's wrong with you? Get off the judge!" And I remember vividly just how strong Mr. Redden was. I mean, this guy, he is unbelievably strong and much bigger than me. So I'm trying to wrestle him and get him off, and he is glued to her like a magnet, like an actual magnet. Like I couldn't pry him off of her. And it actually took, I'm sorry.
Where was he grabbing her at that time?
Same thing. It kind of just the hair and right here. So, and would not let go. Like was just just stuck on her.
And you indicated that he was right in her face, approximately how far?
Yeah, I mean, you couldn't get any closer. I mean, like almost like touching noses, like this. And
I'm sorry, could you?
Oh
tell me
yeah,
that?
yeah, almost like this. I mean, literally like this, like yelling at her, saying things at her. This is when he had kind of twisted her, and I'm on his back, and they're almost this close, like
So-
face to face.
Approximately like 3 to 6 inches apart, maybe?
Yeah, I'd say so, maybe even closer. And they are close, and she's completely unresponsive, just petrified, just completely, like I said, in just a state of shock.
Had you ever seen Judge Holthus in that state before?
Oh, never in my life. I've never seen her, let alone really anyone. I mean, she was frozen solid, and just.
And she
I mean,
was.
It was like I said, I mean, it was unbelievable to see, especially coming from her. And I've known her a long time, and I've never seen anything like that.
Generally speaking, would you say that she is a timid person or a strong person?
Absolutely a strong person, very strong person.
I'd be afraid to
you
go
know,
against her.
Strong personality, really tough. You know, not much can really rattle her. But I've never seen her like that ever.
And you
Obviously
indicated
he
that
did.
he was screaming things at her. You don't have any recollection of specific statements he was making?
I have none. Honestly, some of it, you know, you can't even hear much because so much adrenaline kicks in. It's like everything kind of goes silent. I remember just him saying things to her, and I remember saying things to him, but I can't really make out anything that was said.
I can.
What was the tone of voice that he was using?
I don't even. I remember him saying things, you know, almost like it was a pretty stern voice, but I can't really make out much. I mean, even the tongue too much, to be honest. He was, because I was just so, like I said, it was like everything went blank.
Madam, I couldn't hear much at that point because the only thing I could hear was my fist going into his body because I was beating the living crap out of him. And he was. Sorry if I'm yelling. I apologize, guys. I'm excited. This young man is a hero because it took a hot minute for them to get to her because it's only one way in. And he is blocking her from getting out on the exit. And then there's a wall. So in that particular bench, there's only one way in and one way out. And he is blocking her way out. He was throwing punches like I haven't seen in a hot minute. And I was like, OMG. I'm going to see if I can pull up that video real quick. Just the video. I don't want to pull up everything. Okay. I want to pull up that video. We're going to just switch to that video real quick. Just for some of you who may not have seen this video, I think you might enjoy seeing it because I've got some good documents to share in a minute. Y'all ready for this? Dun, 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 dun.
Because I just can't with that history. In accordance with the laws of the state of Nevada, this court.
He's banging her head on the wall on the floor when he took her down. So you only got him. You only got just one security guard and that young man, and he is security guard had him for a minute, and then watch him. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. Now he goes and checks on the judge. 15 punches in that dude.
Hey, where's Mary Kay? Is she okay?
Yeah.
Well, a deeper dive into the arrest report of.
This guy who's testifying beat the living hell out of him. I was all like, once shock was run over, I was
yelling
all
at
like,
him. I'm like, get off the judge, get off the judge. You know, I'm so just focused on trying to just get him up. And it was just so unusual. And I just wasn't even really paying attention to anything that he was saying.
As you were trying to pull him up, what was he doing with his body?
Oh, he was just stuck to her. There was no getting him up. He was fighting tooth and nail. I mean, I'm trying my best to get him up, and he is just latched onto her. There is no getting this guy off of her. It was unbelievable. I mean, I actually remember saying to myself, like, I could not believe how strong Mr. Redden is. It was unbelievable. I mean, I could not. I'm just
And
trying
he's
my best.
proud of
I mean, I'm struggling to try to just get the guy up just a little bit. I mean, off Judge, and he is just glued to her.
Where were your arms placed on Mr. Redden? As you were trying to
Attorney's
lift him
gonna
off?
say, dude, you better plead guilty
So
right
honestly,
now. You ain't gonna.
Mine, I was almost like kind of around him. I kind of grabbed his shoulders like this, kind of like, imagine this was his head, not in like a chokehold or anything, but kind of like right underneath, and kind of grabbing with this other arm and just trying to just lift him up. Anything I could do to just try to, get him off the Judge.
So your arms were wrapped around his chest area?
Almost, yeah, kind of like right here, almost like right below
This
the neck
young
area.
man has been
And he
friends
continued
with
to
the
go
judge and her
towards her
family
and
for
was refusing to let go.
19 years.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
He's-
Just
they're like
kind of like I
family.
said, just still with that kind of just death grip almost.
And you indicated previously that you, at the time that you were seeing this occur initially, you had the thought, oh my God, he's going to kill her.
Yes, especially when I saw her hit the back of her skull on that tile. I absolutely thought he's going to kill her.
When you observed his
We just
hand,
showed the
I
video.
believe you indicated that it was
Dr.
between the shoulder and the neck area.
Mhm.
Was she already on the ground at that point, or was that as he was kind of flying into her forcefully?
Right when he kind of did this, where his hands landed is almost where they stayed the entire time. So they kind of just, like I said, kind of just latched on, and there was no letting go. So he kind of did twist her a little bit, and when they were on the floor, but they didn't really move much, the hands, and that, I mean, that's basically it.
Can you tell me when they were on the ground how they were positioned?
He's evil.
It kind of had changed. So like I said, they were face to face. But then when I was trying to get him up, he kind of had gotten up a little bit. She was still kind of frozen. But he had his hands right on her hair and, still in that like neck area. He's got long arms. So he's kind of holding her like this. I'm trying to get.
Not much has happened other than opening statements. One other person I think's testified. I don't know how many, but the judge herself testified. And this was the next person. I was his lawyer. I'd say, dude, plead and now.
Get him up, and he's just relentless trying to just get back at her, and they kind of just changed positions a little bit depending on kind of just wrestling with me also as well, they kind of started out like this, but that only had lasted just momentarily. He was still saying things to her, but she had kind of, like I said, was just kind of frozen a little bit, and there's just a little bit of like wrestling going on almost, but those hands stayed kind of where they were.
Was he directly on top of her? Was he next to her?
At first, he was on top of her, and then as I was kind of pulling him off, and then especially when the CO came, he'd kind of gotten up a little bit and kind of maneuvered his body, but
Thank you. I
kind of
can't
hands,
remember.
stayed in place.
I thought they
When you
had
say that
somebody
he
else
kind of gotten up
testify.
a bit,
Am I
was
wrong?
he
I apologize.
on
I've
his
got a lot
knees?
today.
Was he still on the ground?
Yeah, well,
flat? What was he doing?
When he had first jumped over, it was such a incredible jump that he had like almost landed on his knees, but
He's
like
Andrea.
he actually wasn't like fully flat on the ground. It wasn't like he had just laid on top of her. He almost had like a pretty good formation, I guess, of where he was. So like he almost had like a leg out and kind of was able to really be on top of her and kind of prevent anyone from just kind of, it wasn't like he was just dead weight and couldn't lift him up. I mean, he had like a good position on her. And that's why I think also, I mean, it was so hard to lift Mr. Redden off of her. He was just kind of in a good spot and was not letting go, almost just determined, at like he was on a mission or something.
I would tell him you have
While
no hope.
she was on the ground and he was kind of on top of her, or at least had his hands around her neck, shoulder area and had her by the hair. Did you see him do anything else to her?
No, I didn't see him really do anything else to her other than, screaming
Punch
at
the hell
her,
out of her.
kind of just having his hands like that. That was basically it. I didn't see really any like punches or anything like that.
You indicated that he was extremely strong.
Yes.
Like incredible strength.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
What about his physical build?
Oh, he's a big guy, a lot bigger than me, and athletic, very strong,
And you whooped his ass.
tall, and I've been in that courtroom many times. I don't know anyone that can make that kind of a jump. It was honestly impressive.
Do you have any idea approximately how tall he is?
I believe he's like 6'2", maybe 6'1".
You indicated that at some point you became aware that the correctional officer had jumped in to assist you.
Yes, yeah. So it was about 7 seconds of me wrestling with him before the correction officer could make his way past that barrier we were talking about, because he was sitting in the witness stand similar to how I am now. And then he had taken about 7 seconds before he could actually cross that barrier, because once you are able to get through that, it's essentially just you and whoever's back there. So at that point, it was me and the judge. And you're blocked off from everyone else in that courtroom. So it took about 7 seconds of me kind of wrestling with Mr. Redden to try to get him up before the correctional officer came in. And actually, until the correctional officer had come, I was unable to actually get him off of her. And thankfully, when the correctional officer came, it took both of us were able to finally unlatch him from Judge Holthus.
And when you unlatched him initially, did he stay unlatched?
When we had gotten him up,
he not only dislocated the shoulder, he had to have shoulder surgery, and he had a huge gash, and his skin was flapped back on his head because he hit his head. It was, honey, it was bad. There was blood all over the place from that guy. I saw a picture somewhere. I can't remember where.
Yeah, I mean, I would say when he was actually up, yes. I remember him because I kind of had him. My arms were almost on his chest area, right below his neck, kind of like right here. And I remember him holding on to my arms, and I remember thinking to myself, I hope he's not going to turn around and attack me. So I remember just trying to get him up. I remember him holding on, fighting, just really trying to get back at the judge. And I remember the correctional officer being right there. And I was actually under the impression, once the correctional officer was there, that there were more officers behind him. I remember seeing a blue suit. I wasn't sure at the time who that individual was, but I just thought, there were actually more people that were right there that were coming to our aid. So when we'd finally gotten him up, I actually had kind of let go. I kind of stopped engaging in the situation because it's not really my place to put my life on the line and try to protect the judge. And at the same time, I also didn't want to get in the way because I'd seen the officers. I'm not really trained, and I didn't want to kind of be somewhere I wasn't supposed to be. So I actually completely almost let up entirely. And at that time.
Okay. And when you let up initially, what did you do? Where did you turn your attention?
Where did Mr. Redden turn his attention?
Where did you turn your attention at that point?
I was watching the situation. I was watching where Judge was also. She was kind of my first priority. But I had kind of just completely let up and just watched the correctional
he came
officer
to
there
the front of the
and,
desk.
was
He
hoping
didn't
he
engage
would be able to
physically.
contain the individual.
The correctional officer that assisted you, was he armed with a firearm that day?
Yes, he was.
You saw the firearm on his side?
Oh, yeah.
And did you observe that firearm on his side during this interaction?
Yes.
At some point, do things go south again?
Yes, they do. So I'd kind of let up, like I said earlier, and the correctional officer is much smaller than Mr. Redden.
One of the side attorneys.
The correctional officer, and I remember too, I had a blue suit at the time that was right here, so I was under the impression that was another officer, and I'd let up, and then I remember Mr. Redden just going at the correctional officer and just winding back his arm and just landing blows, like really big blows, just boom, boom. And then I realized it was actually Jory in the blue suit right there, and it wasn't another officer. It was one of the DAs who had ran around. So when I had seen that, I'm like, oh my God, this is far from over. So that's when I actually had no choice, but had to jump back in and try my best to help subdue.
Get a load of this. If one of the correctional officers was taking the blows, he has the bulletproof vest, right? So that vest is going to take the blows and it's going to hurt his hands. It's going to hurt the asshole's hands. I cannot believe I didn't realize that was boy. He's a good storyteller. I want him on the stand for other things. Oh my gosh. I hope he witnesses if anybody does anything to me. But my gosh, I didn't realize that was a DA that we were hearing taking the punches. I thought it was, well, I can't hear, but I could feel the booms, and I could have sworn I thought it was just him hitting the vest. Oh my gosh.
To Mr. Redden.
Learned
You
something new.
indicated you made kind of a fist when you were punching. Was he striking the correctional officer with a closed fist?
Oh yeah, absolutely. He was complete. I mean, like
Pulverizing.
I said, real big windups, just huge blows. And I actually remember saying to myself, like, oh my God, I hope he doesn't, grab the gun and maybe start shooting at someone in the courtroom. I mean, I don't know what's going to happen. I know the correctional officer's got a loaded gun right there, and now the correctional officer's in distress, and it's just me and a DA here. I wasn't sure what was going to happen, to be honest.
And what actions did you take to assist at that point?
At that time, I began punching Mr. Redden and try my best to help. And I remember eventually Shane had gotten up, which was our marshal at the time. He had gotten up and ran around. And at that point in time, another DA, Mr. Scow, he had actually gone around, and there was about 5 of us trying to contain him.
Okay, so when you say that Shane had gotten up and come around, do you mean he'd gone around that kind of triangular shaped wall?
No, he had gone around the other side where like the witness stand would be kind of like right here.
Okay. And you
rock,
said
DA.
The other DA, Richard Scow, was also back there now assisting?
Yes.
So it was you, Jory Scarborough, Richard Scow, Shane Marshall, and the corrections officer.
That's correct.
And ultimately, with the assistance of these 4 other people, are you all able to get him detained or restrained?
Yeah, you look
pretty cool. Yeah, when it about took 5 of us, but once we were able to kind of get him, the correctional officer was able to manage to get up, and with the help of everyone, we were able to, like I said, finally, contain Mr. Redden. And the minute that the correctional officer had gotten up, and I realized that, kind of the situation was handled, then I immediately went to check on Judge.
And when you went to go check on Judge, what did you observe about her?
Oh, she was frightened. She was in a fetal position right underneath the bench. There's like where my feet are now, there's a similar kind of opening where she sits, and she was literally in a fetal position, shaking, just still frozen, scared for her life, just, almost like this, like just in a full state of just shock.
Is it fair to say that even once Mr. Redden had kind of been finally constrained or detained, he was still lying in the area where you and the judge would?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, he was laying there for quite some time.
And was that while he was being handcuffed so that he could be relocated?
Yes. And I remember a flood of security coming in, and marshals and other people coming to help.
Yeah, I bet.
Did you, when you checked on Judge Holthus, did you try to get her to go back into chambers with you?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I stayed by her side the entire time. I didn't leave her side after that. And I remember her not wanting to go through our normal walkway whatsoever. She was so scared that she actually hopped over where that clerk sits. She actually hopped over that other side because she was so just scared, and just, like I said, just it's kind of the state of just shock and emotion that she couldn't bring herself to just walk through that other area.
Once Mr. Redden was relocated, was she then able to exit out her normal path?
Well, no, she went over, like I said, she went right over where that clerk is, that big wall. She wouldn't go, she wouldn't walk through that normal path.
You also indicated that you became aware of an injury to Marshal Shane Brandon
Yes.
after things kind of settled down a little bit.
Yeah, I do remember when all the people were kind of trying to detain him, like all 5 of us. I remember looking up at Shane, who was sitting, or standing almost right here, and I remember seeing his head busted wide open like an onion peel, and his forehead was literally dangling off of his forehead. And I remember, him saying, "How's the judge? How's the judge? How's everyone?" And him, kind of just worrying about everyone else. And meanwhile, he's got an injury to himself. I'm like worried about us. How are you?
Mr. Redden was not bleeding though, correct?
I don't believe so.
Okay. I want to show you some photographs on the overhead showing you states 17. Do you recognize this as a photograph of the bench area after the incident?
Yes.
And the disturbance, the papers all over the place, the apparent blood on some of the paperwork.
Oh, yeah.
Is that all the result of Mr. Redden trying to attack Judge Holthus that day?
Absolutely.
Or actually attacking her?
Absolutely.
And the blood that's on the paperwork, is that Marshall Brandon's blood?
Yes, it is.
Counsel, how many more questions? I'd
Just-
like to give the jurors. a break.
I'm almost done.
Okay.
Showing you states 18. The area where Judge Holthus was curled up in the fetal position, is that depicted in this photograph?
Yeah, it was would be right there, kind of right underneath
Right
that
here?
monitor. Yes, exactly.
Showing you states 19. Is this the area where you would typically be seated during a counter?
Yep.
And obviously this is after the incident on January 3rd of 2024.
Correct. And the reason why there's so much blood is because that's where our marshal was over, trying to help and assist, like I said, kind of right here. So that's where the witness stand would be. And that's why there's so much blood in that area.
Showing you states 20. Is this the stair leading up to the judge's bench area
Yes, it is.
and the floor
Yep.
just outside? And this disturbance or the papers and the trash can being knocked over, that's all part of the incident, correct?
Correct.
Course indulgence. I'll pass the witness, Your Honor.
Okay. We're going to go ahead and take a break. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 15-minute break. During this period of time, you are admonished not to talk or converse among yourself or with anyone else.
We gonna speed zoom zoom. We gonna zoom zoom zoom. What do you guys think? Now the judge said that he pulled, and you could see where she goes back and he grabs her head and pulls her to our right, her left. She landed on her left arm. And so she got her left arm hurt for months. She couldn't sleep on her left side for months. Her tailbone, her lower back was hurt. Her hand, her neck. The next day, she said she felt like she had to walk around like this. Her neck hurt so bad. Luckily, she didn't have any cuts or broken bones, but the officer sure did. He was hurt pretty good. I don't have a picture of it, and I don't think you guys want to see it. It's gruesome.
In order to assure me you are entering a valid plea, if you do not understand any of my
Okay, here we go.
You all may be seated.
All right, Andrielle, do I need to mute
Okay,
you?
are we ready to proceed?
Don't even say we're almost there. We're
Okay.
not.
Are there any representations that you'd like to make?
Your Honor, it is my understanding that Mr. Redden is going to plead guilty but mentally ill to all of the charges in the second amended.
Andrielle, there's no reason to back up. Look. See? See? There's no sound until she comes in the room.
Yes. I'm going to be asking your lawyer to state in open court the substance of the plea agreement. In other words, the primary, the most important terms of the negotiations or
Smart
agreements
ass.
between you and the state. Actually, this is a guilty plea
You did
memorandum.
the right thing.
Okay. I want you to listen carefully as after your lawyer's done speaking, I'm going to ask you if you heard him and if you agree that this is what
You didn't mess
the
me up.
parties
We're
have
good.
agreed to enter into. All right?
I did? What?
Okay. Mr. Merle?
Because that's where back at the judge.
Is that what I
Mr.
missed?
Scow, he had actually gone around and there was about 5 of us trying to contain him.
Okay, so
Mr. Red. Oh yeah.
is that all the result?
Oh yeah.
Is that all the result of Mr. Redden trying to attack Judge Holthus that day?
Absolutely.
Or actually attacking her?
Sorry.
Absolutely.
And the blood that's on the paperwork, is that Marshall Brandon's blood?
Yes.
Just for a
Yes, it
second.
is.
I was trying to get more documents. I'm sorry.
More questions? I'd like
Just-
to give the jurors a break.
I'm almost done.
Okay.
Showing you states 18. The area where Judge Holthus was curled up in the fetal position, is that depicted in this photograph?
Yeah, it was would be right there, kind of right underneath
Right
that
here?
monitor. Yes, exactly.
Is this where you want me to be? There's no sound.
That's where our marshal was over, trying to help and assist. Like I said, kind of right here. So that's where the witness stand would be, and that's why there's so much
Okay,
blood.
break. Still break. Still break. Still break. 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 We're still breaking. Still breaking. Have I passed it? Still breaking. Did I miss it? I'll just leave it. So right now he's getting ready to plead guilty. Yeah, he's going over the document. There's no sound. No, that's not. No, because what happens is they decided that we in a deep doo-doo and he ain't going to win this. So we need to go in and make a plea agreement before they nail his cojones to the wall. Right? So he's going to plead out.
A Sarah or Sarah Brown.
Yes, Andrell. I do. Hold on. So there's his attorney. Yeah, I'm just going to go ahead for the sake of tonight. They're talking about his plea agreement. Hold on, baby girl. I'll be done. Talking about plea agreement. More talky. He's happy. Yeah. 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 Exactly. All right, guys. I'm going to let this run. I'll be right back with you. My daughter called. I'm sorry, guys. My daughter's away in college, and you didn't see him do this? He went like that. So I was mimicking him. My daughter's away in college, and she was calling me, and normally doesn't call this time of night. So I always answer the phone because you guys, you know how it is. We never know what's happening. So I'm going to zoom him ahead. Get. Sorry, kitty hopping up. Because get off here in a little bit.
Okay. Are there any representations that you'd like to make?
Your Honor, it is my understanding that Mr. Redden is going to plead guilty but mentally ill to all of the charges in the second amended criminal or
Well, I gotta back that up.
indictment.
Are there any?
What? Mentally ill? What? I gotta embiggen and read it. I gotta hear that again.
You all may be seated. Okay, are we ready to proceed?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Are there any representations that you'd like to make?
Your Honor, it is my understanding that Mr. Redden is going to plead guilty but mentally ill to all of the charges in the second amended criminal or second amended indictment that was previously filed. The state is willing to stipulate to allow him to withdraw his prior pleas of guilty so that he can enter pleas of guilty but mentally ill to counts 2 through 7. And he's also pleading guilty but mentally ill to count 1.
And that's our understanding, Your Honor. He's prepared to go forward.
He's going to plead mentally ill?
Okay. All right.
But in terms of the negotiations, Your Honor,
I'd make him go all the way to court.
Each side will argue
Go to a
for
jury.
lawful sentence under the statute.
Okay. All right. Mr. Redden,
Yes.
I'm going to be asking your lawyer to state in open court the substance of the plea agreement. In other words, the primary, the most important terms of the negotiations or agreement between you and the state. Actually, this is a guilty plea memorandum.
Honey, 2800. I fully agree with you to a point. I understand that there are mental illnesses. Part of that most of those is they don't take their medicine appropriately. That being said, what makes me feel that that is a BS excuse is because he was pretty clear and minded and able to argue his case before her moments before. And he thought he was going to get off. And when he found he wasn't going to get off, that was not going to be happy. That wasn't working for him. I understand under the law, it really won't matter to him, but I really get frustrated that there are a lot of people. I'm not saying this guy, this is in general. There are a lot of people out there who take antidepressants or whatever, anti-anxiety, and they go out there and they get mad and commit a heinous crime or a crime. And then they go, oh, but I was off my meds, so I shouldn't get in big trouble. Just give me a slap on the wrist. It won't happen again. And that frustrates me. Now, in this case, he does get the same sentence. But a lot of people throw that around. And at some point, you have to be responsible to take your meds. Now, if you are so ill that you cannot be responsible for yourself, you cannot be responsible to take your medication, you cannot be a functioning adult in society, then maybe you need to be placed in a place that a halfway house or psych ward or something. I get it.
Okay. I want you to listen carefully as after your lawyer's done speaking, I'm going to ask you if you heard him and if you agree that this is what the parties have agreed to enter into. All right?
Okay.
Okay. Mr. Arnold?
Your Honor, he's agreed to plead guilty, but mentally ill to count 1, attempted murder, victim 60 years of age or older. Count 2, battery on a protected person, resulting in substantial bodily harm, victim over 60 years of age or older.
That's
Count 3, intimidating a public officer. Count 4, battery on an officer resulting in substantial bodily harm.
They are.
Count 5, performance of act or neglect of duty in willful or wanton disregard of safety of persons or property, resulting in substantial bodily harm or death. Count 6, battery by prisoner. Count 7, unlawful act related to human excrement or bodily fluid.
Spitting.
Spat on. And this is what I will do. Once I canvass Mr. Redden, I will go ahead and allow him to withdraw his guilty plea with respect to the counts 2 through 7.
Thank you.
Did I get the numbers right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Mr. Redden,
Yes.
did you hear your lawyer just state the substance of the guilty plea memorandum?
Yes.
Okay. Did he accurately state the terms that you had agreed in order to resolve the criminal charges lodged against you?
Yes.
Do you read, write, and understand the English language?
I do.
Okay. Did you receive a copy of the guilty plea memorandum?
I did.
Did you review the second amended indictment?
Yes. I did.
Okay. Did you receive a copy of that as well?
Yes.
Okay. Do you need me to read the second amended indictment now and before we take your plea?
No.
I understand.
Before accepting your guilty plea, there's a number of questions I'm going to have to ask you in order to assure me you are entering a valid plea. If you do not understand any of my questions, will you please let me know?
Okay. I thought if he's mentally ill, how could he enter into an agreement like this? If he's this mentally ill, then he should have a guardian and they should enter into this agreement on his behalf. Just saying.
No, so that I can rephrase them.
I will.
If at any time you wish to take a break in the proceedings so that you can discuss matters in private with your lawyer, will you let me know so that I can give you an opportunity to do so?
Yes.
How old are you, sir?
I'm 31.
Where were you born?
Las Vegas, Nevada.
What is the extent of your education?
12.
Did you graduate from high school?
No.
Would it be fair to say you dropped out in the 12th grade?
Yes.
Okay. You finished the 11th grade?
Yes.
Okay. Are you taking any medications or suffering from any medical, physical, or mental health conditions that would interfere with your ability to understand these proceedings and the terms of the guilty plea memorandum?
I am on mental health meds, but as long as I'm on that, I don't believe that it will affect any of my resistance.
Well, I know that you've got to be on some medication, sir. I think we've been discussing that here today. But I want to know, are you taking any medications or suffering from any medical, physical, or mental health conditions that would interfere with your ability to understand what is going on here today or the terms of the guilty plea memorandum?
Oh, no.
You fully understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Have you had an ample opportunity to discuss your case with your lawyer, Mr. Arnold?
Yes.
Are you satisfied to have him as your lawyer and the advice that he has given to you?
Yes.
Do you understand you are entitled to have an attorney represent you at every stage of the proceeding lodged against you?
Yes.
Do you understand you're entitled to a trial by jury, at which in order to convict you, all of the jurors would have to agree that you are guilty?
Yes.
Do you understand at trial you would be presumed to be innocent and the state would have
Yes
to overcome
and
that
no.
presumption and prove you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt?
Yes.
They will continue to give them mental medication, but not necessarily what he is currently on or was on. Seriously. They will get the generic or the cheapest meds that they think will match what they're on. And that causes problems as well. It's no fun.
Do you understand that to do this, the witnesses for the state would have to come to court and testify in your presence, and your lawyer could cross-examine those witnesses?
Yes.
Do you also understand that your lawyer could object to evidence offered by the state at the trial and could call witnesses and present evidence on your behalf?
Yes.
Do you understand at trial, while you have the right to testify if you chose to do so, you also would have the right not to testify, and if you decided not to testify at your trial, the state would not be able to use the fact you did not testify in any way to prove its case?
Yes.
Do you understand that by entering your guilty pleas, you are giving up these rights and other rights listed in the guilty plea memorandum?
Yes.
Are you aware of the penalties for committing the crimes which are listed in count 1 through count 7?
Yes.
I'd like to review all of them with you. This will take a little bit of time, but I want to make sure you understand, okay? Do you understand, as a consequence of entering a plea of guilty but mentally ill, you have the burden of establishing your mental illness by a preponderance of the evidence?
Oh, yes.
Do you understand that except as otherwise provided by specific statute, as a defendant who has entered such a plea,
Honey,
you would
I'm
be subject to
so
the same criminal,
sorry.
civil, and administrative
sorry.
penalties and procedures as a defendant who regularly just pleads guilty?
Wait, so.
Sure. Do you understand, except as provided by specific statute, as a defendant who has entered a plea of guilty but mentally ill, you are subject to the same criminal, civil, and administrative penalties and procedures as a defendant who pleads guilty?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, do you understand that if the court finds by a preponderance of the evidence you are not mentally ill at the time of sentencing, that the court may impose any sentence that the court is authorized to impose upon a defendant who pleads or is found guilty of the same offense, or that you are mentally ill at the time of or if you are mentally ill at the time of sentencing, the court shall impose any sentence the court is authorized to impose upon a defendant who pleads or is found guilty of the same offense, and include in that sentence an order that you, during the period of your confinement or probation, be given or obtain such treatment as is medically indicated for your mental illness. Do you understand that?
Yes.
That's all set forth on page 2 of the guilty plea memorandum. Okay, do you understand that as a consequence of your plea of guilty but mentally ill, the court must sentence you as follows? First, with respect to count 1, the court must sentence you to imprisonment in the Nevada Department of Corrections for a minimum term of not less than 2 years and a maximum term of not more than 20 years, plus a consecutive sentence of 1 year to 20 years for the age enhancement. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Do you understand the minimum term of imprisonment may not exceed 40% of the maximum term of imprisonment?
Yes.
Do you also understand that you also may be fined?
Yes.
Okay. Do you understand that you are eligible for probation for the offense to which you are pleading guilty?
Yes, I understand.
Do you also understand, except as provided by statute, the question of whether you receive probation is in the discretion of the sentencing judge?
Yes.
With respect to count 2, do you understand that the court must sentence you to imprisonment in the Nevada Department of Corrections for a minimum term of not less than 2 years and a maximum term of not more than 10 years, plus a consecutive sentence of 2 years, minimum 2 years to 10 years for the age enhancement?
Yes.
Do you, again, as with count 1, do you understand that the minimum term of imprisonment may not exceed 40% of the maximum term of imprisonment?
Yes.
Do you also understand in that situation you may also be fined for that?
Yes.
And as like count 1, do you also understand you are eligible for probation for the offense to which you are pleading guilty, meaning count 2?
Yes.
With respect to count 3, do you understand that the court must sentence you to imprisonment in the Nevada Department of Corrections for a minimum term of not less than 1 year and a maximum term of not more than 5 years?
Yes.
Do you also understand that you could be fined up to $10,000?
Yes.
And as with respect to counts 1 and 2, the minimum term of imprisonment may not exceed 40% of the maximum term of imprisonment?
Yes.
And I might save a little bit of time, but the minimum term of imprisonment may not exceed 40% of the maximum term of imprisonment would also apply to counts 4, 5, and 6, and 7. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. And you also understand that you are eligible for probation with
Yes.
respect to those other counts,
Yes.
as well as count 3.
Yes.
Your Honor, I think count 7 is actually non-probationable.
Okay. Okay. I will get to count 7. I thank you, counsel, for doing that. You are not eligible for probation with respect to count 7. We will get to that in a few moments. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. With respect to count 4, do you understand the court must sentence you to imprisonment in the Nevada Department of Corrections for a minimum term of not less than 2 years and a maximum term of not more than 10 years?
Yes.
Do you understand in that instance you may be fined up to $10,000?
Yes.
With respect to count 5, do you understand that the court must sentence you to imprisonment in the Nevada Department of Corrections for a minimum term of not less than 1 year and a maximum term of not more than 5 years?
Yes.
Do you also understand you could be fined up to $10,000 with respect to that count?
Yes.
With respect to count 6, do you understand that the court must sentence you to imprisonment in the Nevada Department of Corrections for a minimum term of not less than 1 year and a maximum term of not more than 6 years?
Yes.
Do you also understand in that instance you could be fined up to $5,000?
Yes.
Okay, and that again is with respect to count 6. With respect to count 7, do you understand that the court must sentence you to imprisonment in the Nevada Department of Corrections for a minimum term of not less than 2 years and a maximum term of not more than 10 years?
Yes.
Okay, and you do understand that you are not eligible for probation for the offense to which you're pleading guilty with respect to count 7?
Yes.
And do you understand you could also be fined up to $10,000?
Yes.
And in any case, that the law does require you to pay certain administrative assessment fees?
Yes.
Do you also understand the court may order you to make restitution to any victim of the offense to which you are pleading guilty?
Yes.
Has anyone threatened you or forced you to plead guilty but mentally ill?
No.
Has anyone told you if you do not plead guilty but mentally ill, some other adverse action will be taken against you?
No.
And I take it that you have, you've received a copy of the guilty plea memorandum,
Yes.
okay? And your signature is affixed thereon on page 8, is that right?
That's true.
And your lawyer, Mr. Arnold, he signed the guilty plea memorandum on page 9?
Yes.
Prior to signing the guilty plea memorandum, did you read it?
Yes, I did.
Did you discuss it with your lawyer before you signed it?
Yeah, I did.
Did he answer all of your questions?
Yes, he did.
Did you sign the guilty plea memorandum willfully, knowingly, and voluntarily?
Yes.
Do you feel you understand the terms of the guilty plea memorandum?
I do.
Has anyone made any promise to you other than those set forth within the guilty plea memorandum that induced or caused you to plead guilty but mentally ill?
Say that one more time.
Sure. Has anyone made any promise to you other than those set forth within the guilty plea memorandum that induced or caused you to plead guilty but mentally ill?
No.
You understand that later on, when there are requests with respect to sentences or any sentences that may be agreed to by your lawyer, and the lawyers for the state would not be binding upon the sentencing judge.
I don't understand what that means.
Do you understand that sentencing is totally up to me?
Okay, yes.
That's irrespective of whatever your attorney argues to me. If later on there's deals made between your lawyer and the lawyers for the state, I don't have to abide by those deals. You understand that?
Yes.
Okay.
Good, don't.
And do you also understand that you might, on the basis of your guilty plea but mentally ill, receive, if there was any deals going on, that you could receive a more severe sentence than that, either requested, recommended, stipulated, argued by your lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have any questions as to what you're alleged to have done within the second amended indictment?
No.
Do I need to review all that with him?
He's never been canvassed as to count 1, Your Honor. I think the parties can agree to incorporate the factual basis from his previous plea as to counts 2 through 7, but he's never been canvassed as to count 1.
Okay, let me go through that. I have that right in front of me, so let me pull it up.
Oh, Kat, thank you. Thank you, Kat. Oh, you're so awesome. That, really, thank you.
I'm going to go through all the counts.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, I'm looking at it's called the amended indictment.
Thank you, love. Really
And
do
it was
appreciate it.
filed on August 30th.
It's the second amendment that was filed on Tuesday, or that's the charging document we're going with.
Okay.
Oh, none your
Okay, I need it.
business. You got a
Yeah, apparently
membership.
it was filed in open
Oh,
court, counsel, and for whatever reason, hasn't made it yet, but they're gonna do it like right
thank
this minute. I'm
you.
gonna email them right now, Your Honor.
Oh,
I can email the recorded copy if you want to read it electronically.
If you got a file stamp on it, I'd be happy to do that.
well, come on, kitty, 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 come here. Really?
In fact, counsel, would you approach?
No, you don't sound harsh. I'm trying to find out Daryl Brooks' appearance in court and sentencing today. Do we know what he got? Anybody? Because I am not in the mood. Well, I'm interested, but I'm tired to watch the whole process. So can anyone just spill the beans, please? Oh, thank you so very much. You're an angel. Yeah. Um, there's some people who can manage their meds. There are other people who can't and they need help. And there are mental health programs that they can go daily to and get their meds and make sure they have them. If he can't manage his meds, then that's where he needs to be. He needs to be there. Anybody know what Daryl Brooks got? You know, I kind of feel bad for the judge because this is a kind of event that will stop people from being judges. And if they're close to retirement, she goes, look, I ain't dealing with this. So I feel bad. Oh.
Okay, I've got it, Miss Mercer.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, Mr. Redden?
Yes.
Thank you, Ronnie.
She's got a copy that is file stamped. Well, it's not file stamped, but it is the one that was filed. I'm going to go ahead and review the second amended indictment with you, if I may, and tell me if this is what you did. And again, you're pleading guilty, but mentally ill. I appreciate that. So I may not add all of that. Okay, tell me if this is what you did with respect to count one, attempt murder, victim 60 years of age or older, that you willfully and lawfully and feloniously and with malice aforethought attempt to kill Judge Mary Kay Holthus, who is 60 years of age or older, to wit, during your rendition of sentence, and once you knew she was about to sentence you to prison, did leap over defense counsel's table into the well of the courtroom, and thereafter rushing towards the judicial bench and jumping over it Superman style directly into Judge Mary Kay Holthus's judicial space, landing directly on top of her and immediately attacking Judge Mary Kay Holthus by grabbing her, pulling her hair, placing your hands around her throat, and or hitting her on the head
He's
by
gonna
manner and
make him
means unknown.
say,
Did you do that,
I
sir?
did that.
Yes.
Okay. With respect to count two, tell me if this is
Thank
what
you,
you
Ann.
did. That, and by the way, this is on or about January 3rd. 2024 in Clark County, Nevada.
You mean like this?
With respect to battery on protected person resulting in substantial bodily harm, victim over 60 years of age or older, that you did willfully, unlawfully, and knowingly use force or
Couldn't
violence
resist.
upon the person of another,
Slap
to it,
every
Judge Mary
time.
Kay Holthus, who is 60 years of age or older and is a protected person employed as an 8th Judicial District Court judge, while Judge Mary Kay Holthus was performing the duties of an 8th Judicial District Court judge, which you knew or should have known that Judge Mary Kay Holthus was an 8th Judicial District Court judge by grabbing her, pulling her hair, placing your hands around her throat, and or hitting her on the head by manner and means unknown, resulting in substantial bodily harm to Judge Mary Kay Holthus. Did you do that, sir?
Yes.
Okay, with respect to count 3, intimidating public officer, that on the same date, place, and time, that tell me if this is what you did, that you did willfully, unlawfully, and feloniously, directly or indirectly, address any threat or intimidation to a public officer, namely Judge Mary Kay Holthus, a judicial officer with intent to induce her, contrary to her duty to do, make, omit, or delay any act, decision, or determination with use of physical force or the immediate threat of such force, to wit, during the rendition of sentence, and once you knew she was about to sentence you to prison, did leap over defense counsel's table into the well of the courtroom, thereafter rushing towards the judicial bench and jumping over it Superman style directly into Judge Mary Kay Holthus's judicial space, landing directly on top of her and immediately attacking Judge Mary Kay Holthus by grabbing her, pulling her hair, placing your hands around her throat, and or hitting her on the head by manner and means unknown.
I almost said Gundam style.
Did you do that, sir?
Yes.
Oh, count 4,
I would have
battery
been
on an
crying.
officer resulting in substantial bodily harm. On the same date and period of
I would have had my lead shooter. He wouldn't be walking.
same date and place. Tell me if this is what you did. That you did willfully, unlawfully, and knowingly use force or violence upon the person of another, to wit, Jay Cabralda, who is performing the duties of a peace officer employed with the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, which you knew or should have known that Jay Cabralda was an officer by punching and or kicking and or pushing the officer, such acts resulting in substantial bodily harm. Did you do that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. With respect to count 5, at the same date, place, and time, tell me if this is what you did. That count 5, performance of act or neglect of duty in willful or wanton disregard of safety of persons or property resulting in substantial bodily harm or death. That you did then and there unlawfully, willfully, unlawfully, feloniously perform an act in willful or wanton disregard of the safety of persons or property in the following manner, to wit, by jumping over the defense counsel's table into the well of the courtroom, thereafter rushing at the judicial bench and leaping over it Superman style to attack and or kill the judge, causing Marshall S. Brandon and others to respond in defense of your actions towards the judge, resulting in substantial bodily harm or death to Marshall S. Brandon. Did you do that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. With respect to count 6, battery by prisoner, on the same date and place and time, tell me if this is what you did. That you did willfully, unlawfully, feloniously, and knowingly use force or violence upon the person of another, to wit, Officer C. Boo, by spitting on Officer C. Boo, defendant you at the time of the offense being a prisoner in lawful custody or confinement. Did you do that, sir?
Yes.
With respect to count 7, on the same date and place, and the act being unlawful act relating to human excrement or bodily fluid, tell me if this is what you did. That you did then and there willfully, unlawfully, feloniously, and intentionally use, propel, discharge, or spread any human excrement or bodily fluid consisting of saliva with the intent to have the excrement or bodily fluid come into physical contact with any portion of the body of another person, or under circumstances in which the excrement or bodily fluid was reasonably likely to have come into contact with any portion of the body of another person, to wit, Officer C. Boo, whether or not such contact actually occurred while you were a prisoner in lawful confinement, you committing the offense in the following manner, to wit, by spitting saliva on Officer Boo. Did you do that, sir?
Yes.
Okay. And for that reason, you are pleading guilty to committing the crimes by pleading guilty but mentally ill to committing the crimes of count 1, attempt murder, victim 60 years of age or older, a category B felony in violation of NRS 200.010, NRS 200.030, NRS 193.153, and NRS 193.167. Count 2, battery on a protected person, resulting in substantial bodily harm, victim over 60 years of age or older, a category B felony in violation of NRS 200.481. Count 3, intimidating public officer, a category C felony in violation of NRS 199.300. Count 4, battery on an officer resulting in substantial bodily harm, a category B felony in violation of NRS 200.481. Count 5, is that what I'm on? Count 5, performance of act or neglect of duty in willful or wanton disregard of safety of persons or property resulting in substantial bodily harm or death, a category C felony in violation of NRS 202.595. Count 6, battery by prisoner, a category B felony in violation of NRS 200.481 2F. And count 7, unlawful act relating to human excrement or bodily fluid, category B felony in violation of NRS 212.189. Is that right, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Is the state satisfied with that canvas?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. At this time, I am going to allow Mr. Redden to withdraw his original guilty pleas to counts 2 through 7. And it is the finding of the court the defendant is fully competent and capable of entering an informed plea with respect to the 7 counts, and that your plea of guilty but mentally ill is a knowing and voluntary plea supported by an independent basis in fact, containing the essential elements of the offense charged, and for that reason, this court accepts your guilty pleas. We need to give this gentleman a sentencing date.
Yes, and I believe defense counsel was requesting 60 days.
Yes, Your Honor.
60 days?
Yes.
I think we can accommodate that.
Court's indulgence, Your Honor.
Sure.
Judge, just for the record, was the Mr. Arnold's acknowledgement attached to the guilty plea agreement?
I've got it. Yes.
Just
The
wanted to-
certificate of counsel?
Yes,
It's there.
thank you.
Okay, and go ahead. November the 7th, would you like a special time, Your Honor?
Sorry.
You want a special time?
Yes, please.
Usually I have my calendar at 8:30. Do you want to do it after? Or do you want to do it in the afternoon?
We can do 10:30 or.
She's not going to sentence him now?
Whatever. Afternoon would be better.
Oh, now this shouldn't be a Wednesday.
No, I'm saying on a Thursday.
Okay. How about? Dun,
Yeah, 'cause
dun,
I-
dun,
I-
dun, da, da,
I've
da,
got so fun. There's just no way I can get it done. Right now, we've got 6 criminal sessions on that. I could probably do it at noon if you want to just do it at noon.
Whatever Mr. Arnold's preference is.
That's fine, Your Honor.
Okay. We'll just take a later lunch, okay?
November the 7th at noon. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Okay, thank
So
you.
sentencing
And
is
Ms. Clerk,
November
I'd
7th
like,
at noon?
These documents.
No sentence today?
Dr. Paglini's report, left side filed, as well as Leo Rowley, Dr. Leo Rowley's report, left side filed. Okay.
You got that
Okay.
right.
And thank
You
you
got that
very
right.
much. Well, wait, Mr. Arnold, do you want to take the defendant out now? I was going to tell the jury.
Oh, yeah, we don't need him here.
You don't need him? Okay.
Grown men playing games. Oh my gosh, y'all. Whoo, doggy. They getting aggressive in there. Wonder who's squishing who. NyQuil. Wow. Okay. We've had an interesting day, haven't we? At least that guy got smart because his lawyer knew his goose was cooked, and he knew that if he didn't take a plea, he was going to get fried. I know. I know, right? Yeah. Well, I don't like the mental illness plea. I do understand he's on meds. Once again, though, I will say this: we do not know his full medical history. We don't know what all he has. I've heard his sisters and his mom say two different things. His sister says this, mom said this. So it is true. We're not doctors. We're not psychiatrists. We don't know what his mental conditions are. It just seems to me that if you are capable to being that clear-minded, yeah, that bothers me. But it's not my monkey. I mean, not my circus, not my monkey, even though I own a monkey. I hate that saying, but it's true. Yeah, I wasn't going live again. Nope. I wasn't going to do it. Well, okay, I want to look at something. Give me a split second. Okay, so today I've done 4 hours. Ago, I did 2 hours. We've been on what today? What is this one? 2 hours. That's 4 hours today. And then this one is 7 hours, 8 hours today. I've been on 8 hours today. And then yesterday, I was on. So I've been on basically 8 hours today already, at least, if not more. Yesterday, I was on hour and a half, 2. So it was on 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 hours yesterday. 3. Yeah, I've been pretty much on anywhere from 5 to 10 hours a day for the last 5 or 6 days. So it's been a lot. It's forever o'clock. I know, we're getting off. It's 10 o'clock my time. I still can work a couple hours if I have to, but I'm not. I'm going to go to bed, get up early, be here tomorrow in the morning, and we will be ready for all they're small, they're not going to be huge court proceedings. Okay. So you guys, thank you so much for joining. We bless and love you. We appreciate you. And we hope and pray that you guys will get some sleep and have a good evening. Remember, be kind to your husband or wife. You have to sleep with them. Okay, guys. Blessings. Good night.